Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm doing a little bit knitting before I go down my granddaughter's. But before I go down my granddaughter's, I've been nipping out to the shops for one or two things and the sweets for the kids, which they expect me to bring down on a Wednesday. And this cold I still have, it's still giving me a stuffy head, and my nose is not so bad now, but this is 2 weeks now I've had this, and it's just taken a long time to go away. And it is absolutely freezing today. We've had some nice weather the last few days. Even yesterday wasn't too bad because I went out in my back garden, and I have the last few days I have cut all 3 of my lawns, and I've done both of my hedges. Small one in the front garden and a very long one in the back garden. I managed to do all those, and then I thought the next job I was going to get all the weeds out from between the paving stones in the patio in my back garden. And they were only small ones, and while the soil is wet, they're easy to get out. I've got one of those tools, you know, that you put between the paving. You just put it between the paving like that and pull the weeds out. It's best to get them out when they're nice and small, otherwise they start growing roots underneath the paving things and lift the paving slabs up and things like that. But I got that done yesterday because it wasn't too bad. It wasn't, you know, what you call warm, but it was mild. It wasn't, I just had a cardigan and that on. I didn't put like a jacket on when I went out to do it. And then I have 4 little squares in the middle of that patio. They are the next things I want to dig over, but I'm not doing it today because I'm going to my granddaughter's this afternoon, and I was in the shower and that this morning. I didn't get up early, and then I went in the shower and had my breakfast and doing what I've got to do, and then I thought I'd sit down and do a little bit knitting before I go out. I usually go to the shops about a half an hour before I'm going to my granddaughter's. I go straight down there after the shop. So I haven't really had time to do anything in the garden today, but it's really cold. I've put my heating on pretty low. I leave it on low when it's cold like this. I usually put it on like higher to heat the house up in the morning, and then turn it down on low, and it's on low most of the rest of the day. But I turn it a little bit lower when I'm not here. So when I'll be down my granddaughter's, and I'll just turn it up a little bit when I come in. But there'll be a little bit heat in the house. It'll keep the house warm. But it's terrible, the way this weather is. You have some lovely days, lovely warm days, and then we're back to this freezing cold weather. And according to the app on my phone, where I live up here in the northeast, it's they show the map and they have 1 little dot of snow if you're just getting light snow. But my app showed 2 little dots of snow on the weather thing, and I hope it's just sleet and that it's going to just disappear when it lands, because it is raining as well. It's been raining this morning as well. So all in all, it's not very nice. And then we're supposed to be having more of this snow tonight and tomorrow. And if there's any snow on the ground tomorrow, I was going to my bingo. But if there is any snow, I will not be going to my bingo. I do not drive in the snow. Any kind of snow, even a little bit. I've had an accident in the snow once, and that's put me off ever driving in the snow unless I've had absolutely no other choice. So that's what we're doing, just a little bit knitting before I go down my granddaughter's. But I will be taking my own with me, because I quite enjoyed this. Is one of the sides, and I've actually started on the side after I got the back finished. I started on the side, and with this pattern being a garter stitch on the bottom and like garter stitch of the pattern, and just knitting the bands in with it. I've done a few extra stitches on, put a few extra stitches on the end, and that's for the band, so I don't have to do the bands afterwards, because when you do garter stitch it does sort of pull up tighter, because this pattern is a stretchy pattern. It stretches like this, and that way it stretches that way as well. So it's very good. If you think it might not fit you, you think it might be a bit too narrow, but it does stretch because of the stitch. And this is all, I'm just doing this all out my head. This was a pattern, the actual pattern on here was a pattern on a child's cardigan, but this bit we have like a where you knit the stitch below down here and here, all those like stripes down there. And then the garter stitch pattern in the middle. And the pattern that I was a child's pattern only had 2 stitches less in the centre here, and I just added a few extra to make it a bit wider for this cardigan. But the rest of it is just out of my head. I'm just working on my own measurements and working up to what I need for extra stitches for the sleeves and things. I'll work all that out as I go along. But this has been nearly a year in the making now, and I do want to get it finished. I think once I got the back done, it gave me a lot more enthusiasm to finish on the rest, because I know the other pieces, doing them like 2 fronts and 2 sleeves, you've got less stitches and it'll get knitted a lot quicker. And it's one of those patterns, there's actually 4 rows to the pattern, but you have to check carefully every row you do to make sure you're doing the right stitch, because you could end up, even though sometimes I'm following the pattern, I've started the row off and I've realised I've done a few stitches of purl where it should have been knit. So it is a pattern that you have to keep an eye on really when you're doing it. But I think I've got it off pattern now, because I kept putting it down and coming back to it weeks later and couldn't remember where I was on the rows and that. But anyway, I put a little stitch marker in, don't know if you can see it, marker in here where I started the armholes, because with it being plain it's hard to tell. I want the exact number of inches from here where I started the armholes up to the back of the neck. I don't want to measure it just from the bottom and see 24 inches all the way up the back. So I always put a stitch marker in like that, so I measure it, for I want about 8.5 inches from there up to the back of the neck before I start the shoulder shaping. So I always put a little marker in. They come in handy, these little markers, not just for crochet and some other things, but also for keeping your inches correct. And I'm almost up to the back of the neck, and I thought I was never ever going to get to the back of the neck on this with it being plain knitting. It's boring. But I'm doing a bit pattern on the front, like Dagri emailed me and said I could do a little bit pattern on the front if I wanted, because I'm not actually following the proper pattern, because the pattern was all wrong and it would not have come out right. The sizes and everything that was on, the number of stitches and everything on the pattern. So I'm just following it as best I can, and I'll put a little bit pattern. And when I do a little bit pattern, it's easier to measure where you are on the thing, because you know how number of rows you've done for the pattern and that. That's why I like patterns as well. They're easier to measure. I'm just being nosy. I can see somebody going to next door's house through my window. You know, you have to be nosy or you never know what goes on in the world. And I really love using my new phone for making videos. And even when I start the video, all I have to do is sit back in my chair, get ready, what I want to do, and just say to the phone, start recording. Record video, that's what I say to it. And it does it. I don't even have to touch the phone or anything like that. And the only thing is you can't stop it by telling it to stop videoing. I don't know whether there is a way. I'll have to look through all the instructions in the phone and see whether there's anything like that. Because that was where I found how to start the video, by looking through all the settings in the phone, and it had a little thing like that where I had to click it if I wanted to tell the phone to start recording video. But I would like it to stop as well, so I don't have to lean forward like this and cut it out. And then I put the video I do through, I put it into my computer and put it through software in there, and then I cut out all the bits that I don't want you to see. Like me putting my finger out to stop the phone. I cut that bit out so you don't see that. Except in this bit here that I'm showing you what I would be doing. But anyway, got to get myself sorted, and I need a little bit lunch first because it is 12:30. So I'm going to have myself a sandwich before I go down my granddaughter's, and then nip to the shop and carry on down to my granddaughter's. Her partner Craig won't be there, I think, because he works different shift work. When he's working a different shift, it depends what shift he's working, but if he's not working, Cheryl's working. So I have to wait until I find out what day she's in for to go down. But she said she's not working Wednesday, so I'm down Wednesday this week. So it's my little bit for today, so thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you all next time, so bye for now.